This is pain at its pinnacle right now. I forgot to stop recording. Anthony's being a dumbass.
Like always.
Yeah. So, as you could hear from my demeanor there, things were already looking a little bad for this project. See, I've kind of been foreshadowing it since day one that I want to build a tunnel bore. As somebody who's been playing Bedrock for all of my life, I really want to experiment with TNT duplication. So, as you can see here, I did forget to start recording, but here we have the starting materials to actually make some kind of tunnel bore. Of course, I will later change the design I'm using, as the one I decided on isn't actually as reliable as I thought. But it's time, I guess, that we go ahead and gather these resources and actually start towards a dream that I created almost a week ago. So now, after a bit of deliberation of what is actually a good tunnel board design, you can see that I started a new chest because I didn't realize what the others were actually doing. I decided it was time to actually go and get the more rare resources. See, to do this, I need a certain type of coral block. I'm not sure if the type matters, but I just decided to grab the exact one in the video just for the sake of absolute copying, so I didn't end up doing something wrong. I'm a little nervous. I don't necessarily understand how tunnel bores are actually supposed to work. So, going directly off of the video, there are two main resources I really need to get that I don't already have on hand. Those are ancient debris and, of course, the coral. Now, I already asked two of my guildmates to go and help me get the ancient debris, so now I guess it's time to go ahead and go get this coral. But as you could see in the clip beforehand and in the clip just a second into this, we were just in a group called with Triple Baka. Now almost becoming the spawn keepers, because their base was just so happened to situate perfectly at spawn, so they decided they would make themselves the spawn keepers. And the Triple Baka isn't exactly the perfect description anymore, because mysteriously one of their members has kind of gone MIA, and so has one of ours, but we'll get to that a little later. So now, with our resource chest looking great, it's time to get those harder items. Of course, ancient debris and coral will both require a lot of work. So, it's time to go ahead, go out, and get myself some of that good coral. So, after finally making it back with a little bit more than just the coral we set out for, of course grabbing ourselves some beehives and cactus, both of which will become really great resources to the well keepers later, it's now time to start getting the ancient debris. See, earlier I said that I tasked some of my guild members, Saunders and Ken TV, to go and do that for me while I was out exploring for the coral. It only made sense since we would all be benefiting from this tunnel bore. Unfortunately, even despite their best efforts, they weren't able to find even a single piece. And while maybe I don't think it was perfectly their best effort, it is time for me to go ahead and go in myself so I can then get the ancient debris I need to start building this tunnel bore. Now, with the ancient debris in hand, we can finally start thinking about actually building this thing. But before we start that, I want to talk about the mystery of Draconic and Yokai. These two players are part of each guild. Draconic was once a part of our build. That's his house over there in the distance, with the two crystals. Draconic has honestly been one of our strongest members. until he disappeared. Yokai was on Triple Baka, which has turned the trio into a duo as he suddenly disappeared into the distance. These two weren't necessarily going to be in a guild together. They all had their own allegiances to their own guilds. But at almost the same time, they both went missing. And while yes, they have logged onto the server recently, they have both been seemingly thousands of blocks away from spawn where the two guilds reside. They have become a secret third faction that we're not entirely sure the whereabouts of, and they've honestly become the only thing we don't know for certain on the server at this current time, although I'm sure that list will slowly begin expanding. Because with their disappearance, we've also noticed a pattern of strange robberies, with King Nick just recently losing most of his diamonds and his netherite upgrade template, as any member of the Discord may have seen him cry out. So we will be keeping tabs on this new group and what exactly they are, what they want, and where exactly in the world they reside. All we know is they're really far away. So with that, we can start work on the tunnel bore. And while this is mostly just to find diamonds, it can also provide us a really good escape and honestly a pathway to maybe a different base for the well keepers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and build this thing. Now, I didn't get a time lapse for building it, but I will eventually have a time lapse for running it, which is almost more satisfying. So with that, I'm gonna build it and I'll come back to you when it's finished.
It's gonna explode.
Let's go, it worked perfectly as intended!
Says that 5
I'm
seconds
so
later
good at this game.
explodes. Where did Gavin and I make that tunnel, bro?
And yes, just as I said, this tunnel bore is working exactly as intended, giving us the opportunity to get so many more resources than the other guilds, giving us a leg up on the competition, because even if you kill us, we'll always come back stronger. With the well keepers now having a tunnel bore, and having one of the strongest people in the entire server being Saunders with his full netherite, we are ready to face any conflict that may be coming with full ferocity. But hopefully we won't need to get into any such conflict. This is all just preparation for a storm that may never come. But for the time being, let's continue preparing for the storm, because if it does arrive, we don't want to be caught out in the rain.